Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Kick It to Scoops. I'm your host, Cooper, the sole admin of AFL information, trade rumors, and results. It's preliminary finals round, and there's a big, big sound in the west of the town. It's the sound of the mighty Giants.
Well, there's a big, big sound from the west of the town. It's the sound of the mighty Giants. Feel the ground is shaking, the other teams are quaking in their boots before the Giants. We take the longest strides and the highest leaps. We're stronger than the rest. We're the greater Western Sydney Giants. We're the biggest and the best, and we will never surrender. We'll fight until the end. We're greater than the rest.
Well, it's true. The Giants, I've been saying it all season, since like round 4 or 6, that the Giants are playing better than the ladder shows. And a fun fact that the Giants and Carlton were both outside, they were like 14th and 15th or 13th and 14th at like round 10 or something. And they're both playing in preliminary finals. And just think of this too. Somehow they both could be playing in a grand final against each other. Boy, oh boy, wowee. The Giants are my tip since round 6 or 4 or 6, that they're underrated. They will be very, very good. And their losses have still been good. They've been in it to the end. They've only had 2 bad games this year against Power in like round 22 in the home and away season, or 21, whatever it was, in Adelaide. But they lost by 51 points or whatever it was, or 45 points. And then Collingwood early in the year. They just beat the side that they got spanked by not too long ago in Adelaide in the Power. And they play that other side they got spanked by, the Pies. All on the Giants bandwagon this season. I have been. The dark horse is no longer the dark horse. They mean business, and now you add from being the dark horse to meaning business to now being, in my eyes, the favourite for the 2023 AFL flag. The mighty Giants. They never surrender. They fight until the end. The only question now is, are they greater than the rest? They've got 2 teams to get through, and they will be the premier if they get through the next 2 sides, Collingwood and one of Brisbane or Carlton. But a big show lined up for you guys, and a big show lined up on the show today for you guys and girls, including the world famous segment Scoops Goes Bang on the GWS Doubters. The Giants theme continues. And Kosi Pickett, mate, you need to sharpen up your act. I'm going to get to that in a second. I'm going to review and preview the finals just gone and upcoming. I'm going to go through some trade talk and in and out of the news in between. One thing I want to point out too, please go check out my AFLW vlog at the Saints v Power Clash. And then I ducked over to Victoria Park to catch the last score of Collingwood v Gold Coast in a 12-point thriller victory to the Suns. The Saints unfortunately lost by 8 points. I'll discuss that more in detail on the AFLW show tomorrow night at 7 p.m. But I was really happy to meet Nicola Zenos and Georgia Patrikios and Renee Salters from the Saints. Zenos and Patrikios are my 2 favourite Saints players. It was finally good to finally meet them for the first time. I met a couple of the Gold Coast players as well, and Tani Brown from the Pies. So it was really awesome to do that. And today, as you would have seen dropped, I interviewed GWS young star Caitlin Miller, who was drafted with pick 8 in the most recent AFLW draft, and made a debut as a late-in couple of rounds ago. So go and check that out. The link should be in the comments. The link should be in the link should be in the description of this video and down in the comments section below. Or go check out the most recent videos. We'll greatly appreciate it. Also, I will start off with this. You want me on Cameo at cameo.com/CooperG. Want me to roast a friend, wish someone happy birthday, anything at all. Cameo.com/CooperG. Yeah, you go check out those matchday vlogs. We'll greatly appreciate it. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Once we hit 3K, there'll be some prize giveaways. I mean it. I am a man that sticks to my word, unlike some people. And when we hit 3K, I'm looking at one of the prices right now, and yeah, you want to get your hands on that for sure. But yeah, it's going to be good. Please subscribe if you haven't already. There's a lot of content still coming. I don't have an off season. There's no off season for me. There's the AFL content. There's AFLW content. There's matchday vlogs. There'll be my cricket vlogs. Will be returning in season 2023/24. You'll be seeing interviews like with Caitlin Miller from the Giants today, and all these interviews. This is the biggest week in my channel, I feel. I'm not just saying that, and I'm talking in quantity. This will be the biggest week of my channel. While you're watching this, you would have seen the Caitlin Miller interview. Tomorrow at the AFLW show, and tomorrow I may not have another video on top of the AFLW show, but I'll definitely have an announcement, and it's freaking huge. And I can't wait to share it. And then potentially Wednesday and possibly Thursday or Friday, there may be some more stuff as well. Tomorrow is a big day for me, so look forward to that. Hopefully all goes to plan. Fingers crossed. All right. Subscribe and hit a like on this video. I'm aiming for 20 likes for this video. All right. It's time for that damn world famous segment. Scoops goes bang. Boom. Oh, Kosi Pickett. Man, what's wrong? How many times do you ever get suspended? You have some good games, sure. You have some inconsistent games. And you have moments like this. On Mitch McGovern there. What the hell is that for? That deserves a week. That actually wasn't given it anything, actually. He got a week for the Paddy Cripps bump, which he also deserved a week. So he should have got 2 weeks in general. And one for each. McGovern one and the Cripps one. It's unacceptable that it looked to have accepted the 1 game ban, and so they should, Melbourne, because that was really poor from Kosi Pickett. He's doing a lot of cheap shots. He's done some in the past. He can be a good player, but he needs to get that crap out of his game. And he needs to be a bit more consistent, because I'm sure Melbourne were disappointed in his season for the expectations he would have. So Kosi Pickett, lift your game. Pathetic. And the GWS doubters, the doubters of the Giants. Oh, yeah, I've been saying, beware the Giants. Now, my season ladder prediction, I may not have had him in the 8. I had him like 12th in my final one. But it's okay. The Giants proved a lot of people wrong. Now, I was on their... Now, pre-season, I may have not predicted them to make the 8. But how the way they continued their form up to round 6, I said, yep, they'll make the 8. And I laughed at people. You've got to be kidding me. They're like 15th. They won like 3 out of 7 games. They're not making shit. Well, they are. And they're now in a prelim. So the Giants doubters, keep doubting them. You didn't think they were going to beat the Power. You didn't think they were going to beat Carlton in the last round of the season. You didn't think they were going to make finals. And they've done all that, and they proved you all wrong. And even if they get eliminated by the Pies, to get this far, for a new coach of Adam Kingsley, who's done a terrific job, it's just like, call your Jets. The Giants have been terrific. They are very dangerous. They were dominant against my Saints. You know, Whitfield, Kelly, Canelio, who played in the Power game back from the eye injury, didn't look like he missed a beat. He was fantastic. Hogan, Riccardi, Briggs, Callum Brown, Brent Daniels, Toby Bedford. They've been absolutely dominant. That whole 22 has been terrific. Nick Haynes can't even get a regular game. That's how great they've been. Connor Iden's been good. Even Lockie Keefe as a swingman's done his job. Like, they've done terrific, the Giants. And they are my premiership tip from right now. I was saying to some people yesterday, Victoria Park, I'm going to probably tip Collingwood, but you'll get to find that out soon. Anyway, to the GWS downers, lift your game. Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. And Kosi Pickett, lift your game as well. Hope you guys and girls enjoyed that edition of the world famous segment, Scoops Goes Bang. All right, let's go review the finals. And, yeah, it was an interesting round, wasn't it? The semi-finals, it was just unbelievable. I don't know if this is the first time ever, or definitely the first time in a while, if it's not forever. But 2 teams that made the top 4 out in straight sets, the Demons and the Power out. Out in straight sets. It's not something you'd want to do, and clearly. And, you know, Port fans are blaming Hinkley again. It was all Josh Carr's, you know, reason why they were playing how they were. But now it's Hinkley's fault again. Like, seriously, this is why I can't take some of them people seriously. You can't say it's Josh Carr when you're winning and now Ken Hinkley when you're losing. You just can't say that. You can't have both ways. If you think it's Josh Carr that's doing the job, don't say when you lose it's Hinkley then. Change your mind. Disappointing the Power. Their backline's been a bit of a concern for Leah. You got unfit McKenzie, or underdone, sorry, McKenzie. Dylan Williams was dropped after being injured last week. It's just, you know, Burton, Bergman, I thought Miles Bergman did a really good job on the weekend. But it was just disappointing for them. But both sides terrible in the end, especially the power. And Melbourne, well, you got no one to blame but themselves with their goal kicking. And quite frankly, they didn't deserve to win anyway. I think Carlton were really good. Led by more of their experienced guys. You got Walsh and Chera and the like. Mate, I always get the important goal late. Blakey Acres, my man Blake Acres. Gee, you're looking real stupid now, Freo, aren't you? Now, people say, oh, he was at St Kilda too. Yes, he was inconsistent at St Kilda, but I didn't want him gone. I thought that was the wrong move at the time, and I still think that. And now he's won back-to-back finals for Carlton, kicking the last goal of the game, the winning goals. Blakey Acres. Freo, remember him, the guy you played every week, who was on 300K or so? And you wanted him on a reduced wage of roughly 200,000? That's an insult, and that's a fact of life. Yeah. Like, how could you do that? Like, seriously, Freo, acknowledge your mistake. Your one big mistake. The one mistake. That was bad. How? I can't believe. And they sold him for a future fourth or third round or whatever, that essentially a nothing pick. Carlton would have been laughing. Nick Austin, their list manager, and the club, Michael Voss and co, going, how the hell did we get this regular best 22 player on a wing for bloody cheap? Great recruiting from Carlton. Poor recruiting from Freo. Peter Bell and co did a crap job there. And they paid the price this year. Their other women, Liam Henry's leaving them, going to the Saints. And by the way, you're not getting pick 12 on its own. Not happening. We'll get to that later. But yeah, Blake Acres, fantastic player. Underrated. Great game again. He has clearly been the best player of the final series by a mile. Fantastic, Blakey Acres. Keep up the good work, mate. And he's put his side into a prelim final up at the Gabba on Saturday night. Saturday 5:15 at Victorian time at the Gabba. Can they do it again, Carlton? Oh boy, it'll be interesting. So it was 71-73 in favour of Carlton. Blakey Acres, he'll be fine. Sam Doherty will be fine. Blakey Acres is probably playing with a broken or something collarbone, damaged collarbone, cracked or something collarbone. So pretty brave from Blakey Acres. Same with Sam Doherty as well. Played with some injury concerns as well. Harry Mackay will come back for them. Oh, actually, we'll get that in the prelim. But Mackay, Silvani will be available again, like he was this week. Just didn't want to select him. And Jack Martin will be back from suspension. But I mean, Melbourne gone. They need key forwards. I mean, they got no one else but to blame. They treated Grundy like shit. They promised him so much, and now he's out the door and going to Sydney. And so he should. Brody Grundy should be apologized. Max Gordon should apologise to him for the way they treated him. But Brody Grundy, it's his fault for wanting to go there in the first place. Him and his manager shouldn't have wanted to go to Melbourne. It was never going to work. And why Melbourne wanted him is another story. It's just, and on big money too. And you're playing him in the twos or as a forward. He's a ruckman only. He's going to be a terrific asset for Sydney in the ruck, replacing Tommy Higgy. The other prelim final was Port Adelaide 70, defeated by the Giants 93. Hogan, Canelio, Whitfield, Kelly, Briggs, Tom Green, Toby Green was terrific. Kicking a couple early, kicked 3 for the game, kicked one of the sealers. Great win for the Giants. I'm so happy for them to get into a prelim final. It's well deserved. And beware the Giants. It's a big, big sound from the west of the town. It's the sound of the mighty Giants. Yeah, Port Adelaide, they had nothing to answer. A bit like the Saints game, really. GWS dominated the second quarter, got to that big lead. In Port's credit, they came back like the Saints did. But then again, in the later part of the last quarter, GWS just said, Toby Green and coach, this ain't happening on my watch, pal. And great win. Butters and Rosie were well held. Scott Lysett's got to go if he's not retiring. Sam Hayes is probably going to get traded there. Port need to sort out their ruck issue. And Dante Vizentini, Brian Teakle, Sam Hayes and Scott Lysett. No, that can't be their options. They need a ruckman. They're getting Jordan Sweet in the trade period. I just think that Jordan Sweet's another one of those 4 guys. You know, fringe type ruckman. I mean, you can't really get much, but that's going to be a concern for them next year if it's just Jordan Sweet and Vicentini and Teagle. It's going to really, and even if Lycett's there, it's still a concern. So, and same with Sammy Hayes. But the Power got to revisit. They need more defenders again, Radigalia and Sir Thatcher. I mean, hey, if you're going to use them as depth, but I know you're not, so that's bad, real bad. And Radigalia on the 5-year deal or whatever he's going to get, unbelievable, and just as bad as Hawthorn offering 7 years almost. But yep, that's how the semi-finals went. All right, let's now go preview the finals. The preliminary finals starts Friday night at the MCG. Collingwood hosting the Giants, 7:50 Victorian time at the MCG. I'm tipping the Giants. I mean, Craig McRae's done a ripper job, and it wouldn't shock me if they win. But I'm going the upset to a degree. I'm going the Giants. They're in a red-hot form. The Pies have been good, but the Giants have been stronger. And the Pies slip up just a little bit, they're probably going to be punished by the red-hot surging Giants. Sorry, the orange, because the orange tsunami, as they say. The Giants are on fire. I'm going to go the Giants by 15 points. And Toby Green to kick 4 goals. His number. By 15 points, Giants. Next preliminary final I'm going to go through is Brisbane hosting Carlton at the Gabba, 5:15 p.m. Victorian time. People are questioning the time slots and why Collingwood was Brisbane wasn't the Friday night. It was always going to be like this. This is more the time slot for the Brisbane game you were worried about, whether they want Carlton to get back home if they won, etc. Be interesting. But yeah, I'm going Brisbane in this one. I'm going the Brisbane Lions by 20 points. They're strong at home. Carlton will give them a red hot crack. So Akius, Walsh, Chera, Cripps and Curnow, Mackay will be back. Silvani will be available. Jack Martin will be back and available. Who goes out? Does Fogarty go out? Does Cunningham go out? Does Owies go out? Does Motlop go out? Those are the decisions. Does Pitnet go out? Does Decoding go out? I think Pitnet might go out for Mackay. And Cunningham might go out for Jack Martin. So it's an interesting selection day, a week for the Blues. I'll be tipping Brisbane by 20 points. And my prediction, not really a bold call, but a prediction like I just did for Toby for 4. I'm going to go Joe Danaher for 5 goals. Joe Danaher for 5 goals. All right, it's time to go through the trade talk. Doing a lot of chatting about the trade period. It's my favourite time of the year. So let's go through the trade period. All right. So, Liam Henry, obviously he's going to the Saints. Fremantle fans can forget about pick 12. You ain't getting that at all. You're not getting it on its own. You're not getting it in a deal. The only way you would get it in a deal is if you offered like a future second back with Liam Henry for 12, then that might start getting it started. Butcher that, but whatever. But it's not happening, Freo friends. It's just not. Peter Bell, you're delusional if you think you're getting pick 12 for Liam Henry. Now, I get with negotiations, you're going to start that way and be unrealistic. But don't bother being unrealistic because then no one takes you seriously. So pick 12 is out of the hands. We got 31 at this stage. That's about right for me. Fremantle won't accept that. They want to pick in the low 20s at best, at worst for them. Quite frankly, he's a guy that wasn't playing a game for the first 3 years of his career and really only got a regular game in the last 10 weeks of the season. And now you suddenly think he's good? You did think he was good enough to play every week as a small forward or as a wingman. So don't just come crying now saying you rate him so highly. Yeah, he was pick 8 or 9. I don't care. He ain't worth picking the first round. Just okay, solid player, Liam Henry, but he is not worth a first-round pick. Just because you were drafted there doesn't mean you're 3 years later, 4 years later, worth what you were drafted by. Do you think that Paddy McCartan and Tom Boyd and Jack Watts were all still worth pick 1s about 6 years into their career? No, they were not. No, they were not. Was Richard Tambling worth pick 3 or whatever the hell it was years into his career? No. So you get my point. So, but yeah, he's going to go to the Saints. An okay addition for the Saints off the wing. Liam Stocker and Liam Henry. Sauce, when he was the list manager at Carlton, tried to poach in terms of Liam Henry. They put a bid on for Freo Academy, and Freo matched it, obviously. and Liam Stocker, Carlton were part of the first ever live trade of a first round pick for a future second, just so they can secure Liam Stocker. So Sauce rated them highly, got one in the door, and he's going to get another in the door. So that knows that trend there. Who Sauce and the Saints are targeting guys from Carlton or guys that they tried bidding on when Sauce was at least venture at Carlton. And Paddy Dow was another one that the Saints are targeting, and they will likely get. Jack Silvani likely signs now at Carlton. I aren't ruling this out at all. I mean, you hear little murmurs here he's going to stay, set to sign a new deal, and nothing's been said. They wait for Carlton to be eliminated. The longer that drags out, the longer I think is still a chance to come to the Saints. So I've been strong on it. I think he could still stay, and it may be closer to him staying now than it was him leaving. But that possibility of him leaving is still there, still wide open. But yeah, it's going to be a wait and see there. So that's Paddy Dow should go to the Saints when their season's over. Ben Mackay, well, Ben Mackay, Hawthorn, Sydney, Essendon. They're the three clubs. It's down to those three. I would say Essendon's the favourite at the moment. They're throwing about 6 years at about 750 at him. I think he'll take that. And that will net that compo for North Melbourne that they want, which is pick 2 after pick 3. Will they trade pick 1 and pick 2? The real question is, does West Coast want Harley Reid? If they've got any risk of not wanting to take Harley Reid because of the home sickness factor reason, North Melbourne and West Coast have to do a trade. It suits them both, and here is why. I'll tell you why. Carlton, West Coast, want Dan Curtin. They trade pick 1 with North Melbourne. North Melbourne are going to take Harley Reid, so you're not going to have that fear of West Coast or North Melbourne in this case take Dan Curtin. So Roos take Curtin. North take Harley Reid. West Coast then have pick 2. They select Dan Curtin, and in that trade with North, they got Port's first rounder, it's like 14, 15 or whatever, and West Coast get another pick for free. So they give up 1 for 2 and 15, and then obviously a bit of stuff around it. North get their man in Harley Reid. West Coast get their local talent in Dan Curtin, and they get an additional pick 14, 15, and they can take whoever they want there. So you're getting a pick for free, and they're also avoiding the guy that they feel that may go home. That's if they think that way. If they think they can turn Harley Reid around and think he'll get him to stay over the years, try it. What North tried with Vaughan Francis. Well, try it and see how it works. You never know. He could change his mind and be happy at the Eagles. Heck, they could go well and he wants to stay. They could offer him a 6-year deal and he could stay. Things can change pretty quickly in the trade space. But that's what I would do if I'm North. So Ben Mackay, feel like he's going to go to the Bombers. That's just my feeling at the moment. Now, someone that's also been linked to the Bombers is my mate and Saint, Jade Gresham. Gresham, I think he could stay. Gresham to stay at the Saints, that is more likely than not. Richmond apparently met with him last week. And then in the same article, the AFL website, they said that he met with Richmond and he's not going. He's highly unlikely to go there. That's very odd that that's written in one article of them saying he met, and it's unusual to see it. So Richmond's out. Essendon and Carlton, the only other 2 other clubs that have ever been linked to Gresh. Carlton were very strong in Gresham early in the season and mid-season. Then that tampered down the last 8 weeks or so. And Essendon's probably the favourite now. But with Carlton, do not rule out Carlton. They say they're not really that interested. But I think they still are. Especially if Dow and Silvani go as well, they'll have more room. So don't be shocked. Heck, free agent he is as well. Keep that in mind. It's only needs salary cap room. Don't have to worry about draft picks and everything like that. Gresh is worth a pick around 20, though. But I think it's worth keeping over pick 20. But Gresham is more likely to say, if once Carlton get eliminated, if he hasn't made up his mind by then, I think he's staying. It's an interesting one. Still think Gresh is wide open. He could easily stay. But yeah, that's all I've got now. On Brodie Grundy, as I mentioned earlier, he's going to Sydney, and yeah, that will happen. Thank you all for watching. Remember to please subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on the bell for all notifications. Subscribe here on the YouTube channel, on my Instagram channel, AFL Info Live. Big week of content through all 3 AFL, AFLW, potential draftees as well. So look forward to all that. So the next video, have a great one. The most important thing of all to remember is go to the Saints and, of course, acknowledge me. They're 1. And remember to have your Turn on the bell for all notifications to know when there's a video uploaded, and follow my social media channels. AFL information, trade rumors, and results on Facebook, over 54,000 likes, and on Instagram, around 3,000 followers. AFL Info Live. Thank you all. Go Saints, and acknowledge me the one and all aboard the Philippo and Saints train.